So I'm going to demonstrate how I use the power bands within my consultations for corrective exercise, rehabilitation and just general training purposes. So here I've got my 1.5 inch small green power band. This one works well often in terms of when I'm wanting to train clients to improve their glute med strength or just improve and work on their lower limb strength within the squat pattern or the lunge pattern also. So have the client sitting or standing with the band wrapped around their thighs. What we're wanting them to do is we're going to introduce a semi-squat lateral crab walk. So get the client to really sit back onto it, making sure their feet, knees and hips are relatively upright and straight. And again, the difficult thing here is maintaining that squat pattern. You'll find when you're getting or asking the client to laterally walk across, which is going to create a real burn through that glute med as we're doing it, that they're going to naturally probably end up coming up out of that semi-squat position. So the cues here are really sort of maintaining that sort of real semi-squat position, asking the client to crab walk across. Again, we can vary the number of reps and sets required or time frame which we're doing this exercise. Have the client do maybe 8 or 10 steps across one direction and then back the other direction, and they're certainly going to feel that in terms of the work that it's creating through that glute med, glute max area there. So ideal for wanting to improve just general lower body strength and movement patterns. The other way that we can go about training the glute meds and glute max and that is to use the longer 41 inch band. So I've got the yellow band here, which is a light resistance. Have the client stand in the band. Ask the client to cross the band up and hold it here so that when we're looking from the side, we're really focusing on keeping those shoulders down and back. Nice upright posture with head up. And ask the client to laterally crab walk in the standing position. They'll quickly feel within sort of 6 to 8 to 10 steps in that lateral crab walk that they're going to really start working a lot through that glute med complex. So again, ideal for those where those clients are not using their glutes properly, perhaps overworking their ITBs and other associated muscles. So common errors that we observe with this is that the client's not holding their shoulders up and back. They'll want to drop forward a little bit, or when they're stepping, they're not wanting to step across and then bringing the other foot close enough. They're more sort of shuffling through here, through that motion there. So again, in terms of looking at how we might increase the resistance or training load for that, I've got the basic yellow band, which is 41 inches. We can also use the next stage up being the orange band. Again, just adding a little bit more resistance here, and certainly this is an exercise if they're walking anywhere between 8, 10, 12 sort of steps in one direction and then the other direction, they're going to be feeling that they're going to be doing a lot of work through those glutes and they're going to be very tired. So again, really focusing, walking across in both directions. Again, in both directions through there. So two great simple exercises. Now, let's have a look at how we can also get the client or the individual just more focusing on an isolated gluteal sort of exercise. I'll just grab my Reebok bench here. So, again, another sort of great exercise for the client to do is to focus on, in a seated position, we're going to have them sitting upright so that their feet are really sort of screwing down tightly into the ground there. Hips are slightly abducted, and we're going to ask the client to work on abduction of the hip as they're performing that movement pattern there. So what we'll do is I'll just wrap this band around through here, making sure it's actually sitting underneath the knee cap, so we're not actually sitting up on the femur, but it's more sitting on the tibia and fibula. Feet slightly externally rotated outwards, nice and still, nice and upright posture. Just have the client really focusing on a nice big squeeze into external rotation there. So again, 10 to 12 reps of this is a nice way to prep movement or get the body moving and used to movement, but also for those clients that are perhaps demonstrating some weakness where we're needing to focus on improving the strength and stability through that area. I'll just show you now from the side. So again, common mistakes are feet are not screwed down into the ground. They're sitting in a slouch position, so making sure they're maintaining that nice upright posture, and then really focusing on squeezing. I often have my clients actually sort of touching the side of their glutes when they're performing this exercise to get that or create that feeling of awareness of how that muscle should be functioning. So fantastic exercise to get them to do, be it at home or before a training session. Next exercise. So the yellow band, pretty invaluable in terms of a tool because we can do a lot of different exercises with it. So 41-inch band, again, this is the basic band, and we can progress up to your orange and blue bands, which are much stronger. If we look at perhaps how we might want to train the squat pattern, again, same as we did before with the lateral crab walk, standing up, crossing over, keeping that position there, holding upright. We can just have our client practicing the general squat movement, working through in that direction, We can, if we want, perhaps crossing band across the top of the shoulders here and just focusing on working through various sort of squat patterns through there. If we want, we can focus on perhaps coming across one shoulder, so stepping across. So we've got the band here and focusing on, and again, what they'll find is that dropping down into the squat, they're required to use more body weight, but then as they push up out of that squat position, they're having to not only resist their own body weight against gravity, but also that of the band, which is pulling down and creating more force. So again, fantastic for training sort of various squat patterns. If we wanted to look at how we might actually use two bands to create a more symmetrical squat pattern, have the client stand on one band, cross it over, wanting to make sure that the bands are pretty much the same in terms of how we're standing, like this. You can see here we've got this nice cross pattern going across the body. We're getting an even distribution of weight then pushing down as we drop into this squat pattern, and have the client squat down. Again, against body weight here, as they come back up out of that position, they're having to push up against their own body weight, which is fighting gravity, but also that of the power band. So another great tool in terms of looking at how we can increase resistance or train resistance without using dumbbells or barbells at home or in the gym environment or in the park using power bands. So again, if we wanted to, we can look at how we can now use this crisscross pattern in a lunge exercise. So have the client sort of stepping out and lunging, again dropping down into the weight, less resistance, pushing up out of the lunge, more resistance. So you can really look at how you can really work speed through that movement pattern.